Welcome to the Michigan Winter Wonderland. My name is EddieX, and this is the Nissan Armada NISMO, and we're going to spend a week living with it. The latest generation of the Armada has been NISMOified, and there is precedence because in the rest of the world, this is known as the Patrol, and there has been a NISMO version. This is the first time they've applied the NISMO name to the Armada. And what exactly does the NISMO treatment involve? Well, you can see it looks much more sporty and aggressive. Lots of red accents, a more aggressive looking body kit. The engine has been tuned up just slightly. We have the VR35, a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 under the hood. It makes 35 more horsepower than the regular Armada, so 460 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. Now, that's nowhere close to the utterly ridiculous Escalade V. This is not meant to be that level of all-out performance full-size SUV, but it's just a little bit sportier. So what is it like to live with? We're gonna find out. That welcome sequence has the NISMO logo, the Nissan logo. That's a cold start. I don't think this has an active exhaust. They said it's supposed to be louder on cold start, but that's still pretty quiet. Also, where are the exhaust tips? Oh, they're hidden. Oh, come on. For the sporty model, it should have like visible dual exhaust tips. We certainly have plenty of red accents for the NISMO, but my favorite one is the anodized red Armada lettering right here. That is a really, really cool touch. Also, this is something that people commented a lot on my first review, but this thing desperately needs some spacers. The OEM requirements for like wheel gap and whatever is sometimes challenging, but oof, I think it's because of the extra fender flares right here. It really, really looks like it needs some spacers. All right, heated steering wheel on, the heated seats are already on. I like in the Armada how we have actual buttons here, because in the QX80, the more luxurious upmarket version of this platform, you get another touchscreen here, and sometimes just having physical buttons is nicer. It's just easier, right? You can spin this for your drive modes. You can press a button here for your heated seats. You don't need to go through another touchscreen. So that's a little bit of personal preference between the QX80 and the Armada. Two nights ago, I was out at Best Buy grabbing a wall mount for a TV, and when I came out to the parking lot, there were these other guys, and one of them came over and goes, whoa, 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 that thing has like a GTR engine in it, right? I'm like, no, just the regular 3.5 twin turbo V6. But he was very excited, and he thought it looked really, really cool. So from a perception and visual standpoint, the NISMO Armada definitely looks the part. The NISMO lost its spot in the garage because, well, a McLaren showed up, so sorry, Armada, you're in the driveway. And look, there was blue in the sky. The sun kind of came out. It's one thing with Michigan winters, it's very gloomy and gray. Kind of like this stealth gray on the Armada, one of the signature NISMO color combos, the gray with all the red accents. They do restrict what colors you can get, because can you imagine like green with all the red accents? It'd be Christmas, which is also slightly holiday appropriate right now, but there are restrictions to what colors. They're kind of all grayscale, because you also have the forced red interior accents. They definitely make sure you know you're driving an Armada NISMO, right? This is not going to be a regular one. We've got the red captain's chairs back here. Little like half-size center console with the cup holders, a couple USB-C ports, and red seatbelts. Red seatbelts everywhere. Some nice suede here with the red stitching and looks like kind of carbon look insert. Red suede seats with the cool hexagon embroidery pattern. Also, this side step in winter is rather slippery, both in regular like running shoes and also even boots. I was hopping in and it was kind of icy and I slid on this thing, so gotta be careful. I think that's why like those off-road trucks with these side step rock rails are like coated in that more textured, kind of tougher, kind of like bed liner material almost. It might be cold, but it's a nice evening. Currently heading to out of office garage, gonna do a little bit of work, hang out over there, and then we're actually heading to downtown Detroit for another holiday themed event. But the NISMO Armada, some thoughts on it. It's a very, very mild sportiness in terms of the treatment. The powertrain doesn't feel anything that particularly different from a regular Armada or a QX80. It is very much a super mild tune. I'm pretty sure to get the power numbers you have to run it on premium fuel. And again, like the Escalade V is something people are gonna probably bring up because that's like Cadillac's super sporty line, and they apply that treatment to the Escalade and they threw a ridiculous supercharged V8 into it. Dodge has the Durango Hellcat, which they just keep building for probably forever because they can keep selling it and make some money. But here, Nissan went the more lightweight route, this is more akin to like, you know, when BMW has like the M Sport or Audi had like the S line, and actually technically Cadillac with V, because remember V is what V Sport used to be and Blackwing is what the old Vs were, right? So like the CT5 V is not the CTS V. The Blackwing is a replacement, but they kind of messed with that trend with the Escalade V because it's so utterly ballistically ridiculous. So don't go into this expecting it to be some sort of like, I won't say track SUV because it's too big of a thing for that, but it's kind of the personality. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that noise is fairly augmented. Let's toggle her into sport mode. I love how you go through eco mode first to get the sports. Like, do you want to waste fuel? Are you sure eco mode's available first? Nah, you want sport mode in the Nismo. Let's see if it does anything. They retuned steering, suspension's been slightly redone, and the exhaust, I believe, just slightly, and then a tiny horsepower bump. Yeah, that sounds a little artificial. Amplified, but slightly artificially amplified. This is a two-way street, right? It's a dash yellow line. Yeah. What are these guys doing? Welcome to Detroit, I guess. Like, there's... yep, this is a two-way street. Good job, genius. Even though it's getting covered in salt, this thing does look really cool. I personally am a pretty big fan of the body kit for the Nismo. It has been a little bit polarizing. Some people don't love it, but it definitely stands out. A much more aggressive front fascia. And it has some functionality too. That's a air curtain opening, the channel air around the wheels. We've got all those red accents with a more aggressive lower splitter. The Nismo logo in the middle, and then the big blacked out grille here. And then around the side, I mentioned already, those wheels definitely look like they need a little bit more offset. They're pretty deeply in there. And also the brakes, I think, could be upsized. They look kind of puny with these wheels. But then we have this lower side skirt with the red accent, and then coming around back, a really aggressive kind of rear diffuser look area. But again, why aren't there visible exhaust tips? I think that's kind of weird. Hi honey, welcome to the Nismo Armada, and welcome back to freezing Michigan winter. We're not in Arizona anymore.
It's not fun.
You were just in Texas for work, so
yeah.
It was warm there. But the Armada will keep us warm with lots of red accents everywhere. Red seatbelts.
Yeah.
And red seats and everything. Yeah. Do you like the way this looks?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
Do you?
See. I think it's cool. I think it looks really aggressive, and I like the battleship gray with all the red accents and everything.
You think it looks aggressive, like from the exterior?
Yeah, it's like a big angry box. The whole Nismo treatment.
I think the interior looks better than the exterior. For
Okay.
Sure. I think the exterior is not that appealing to me.
It is rather polarizing, right? This is the sporty on-road version. There's like an off-road version, the Pro 4X, and then there's like a luxury on-road version too. So they've got a bunch of different distinct personalities now.
Yeah, I like the height of it.
Yeah, it is very big and tall.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. But
so this is like
the
Expedition. Yeah, you don't love the looks of it.
Not quite.
But it's gray. You like neutral colors.
I do, but it kind of looks like a big boxy refrigerator, like you're driving a refrigerator. Kind of similar to, I'm not a huge fan of the way the Defender looks either.
But you do like the G-Wagon.
I do like the way that the G-Wagon looks.
Which is technically hypocritical. They're all refrigerators. They're all big boxes.
They're all big. I don't know, just something about the look of the G just, maybe it's because it's more timeless and it's more of that.
It's the wealth. It's the look of the wealth that makes you. You could buy like 3 of these for the price of the G-Wagon.
Okay. That sounds about right. I'm not surprised.
Doing a bit of shopping at Home Goods. Go ahead and fold down the third row seats. This one? Nope, I guessed wrong. That was the second row. All right, we'll go down. It is 1 click to fold down the third row. Pretty practical back there, obviously, but I'm pretty sure when you get the Armada Nismo, it forces you to do the captain's chairs, the dual seats. You can't do a bench seat in the second row. I've discovered something annoying. At night, the screen brightness is way too bright, and it doesn't seem to remember that I turned it down from the last time I drove the vehicle. So I went back to full brightness when we turned the car back on. So that's kind of weird. You would think that kind of setting would have memory. At least it was convenient to access here. There's just a little like settings shortcut tap on the main screen. All right, let's go for a drive and wrap up final thoughts on what it's been like to live with the Armada Nismo. Because it's winter, it's 5 p.m., and it's pretty much nighttime outside. Living with the Armada Nismo this week has given me a slightly different perspective compared to when I first drove it outside of Las Vegas on those big, sweeping, open roads in the middle of the desert. Living with it has kind of given me, how do I phrase this? It's more of a light sports package than a true dedicated SUV. Now, there really is only one, you could argue two, properly performance-focused SUVs of this size and segment. Durango Hellcat comes to mind, and of course, the Escalade V. Escalade V is utterly ridiculous, but also is nearly double the price of this thing. In terms of true competitors, you would be cross-shopping this against something like the Chevy Tahoe RST Performance, which still has a V8, and this does make a little bit more power than that, or the Ford Expedition Stealth Performance. That one is an EcoBoost V6, but this also makes slightly more power than that, and both of those things are going to be more expensive than this. They're like $85-something thousand. This one is optioned to right around $83,000. Base price is just under $80,000. So the Nismo Armada feels the most cohesive of a distinct sporty sub-brand, right? Because of Nismo and the history of Nismo and Nismo GTR and the Nismo Zs and so forth, right? And they just applied it here to the big SUV. Did they do enough to change it? I think enough to where Nismo isn't being tarnished by having the name applied here, but could they have gone further? Absolutely. The powertrain tune, I think, is pretty dang mild. I think they definitely could have pushed it a bit further, maybe tuning this up to 500 horsepower, right? This VR35 twin-turbo V6 definitely has the headroom. They could definitely push it a bit further, in my opinion. Now, the steering and suspension tuning is fine. I'm in sport mode right now, and it definitely controls the body pretty well given the size. I do think this could use slightly upsized brakes. We felt that when we were out in the desert, and we're cooking it. We're going real quick and you're hauling this thing down. It's still a big, boxy SUV, right? But it doesn't compromise the SUV-ness, so it's still plenty capable. It could still tow. It's got plenty of practicality, all of that. I personally love the way it looks. It's a little bit more on the polarizing side, but I love the aero kit. I love the red accents. I think it looks the part. We just need maybe slightly wider wheels, maybe little spacers or like different wheels to fix that offset. I think the interior is a lot of fun with all the red accents. It's got enough of the creature comforts and things like that. And again, price point, $80,000 is definitely a lot of money, but these full-size SUVs are getting real pricey, and you do get a lot of different things with the Nismo version. Now, out of all the different flavors of the current Armada, I think this is going to be my favorite. Before, it was the Pro 4X. I did like that kind of more rugged, all-terrain feel, but this one here still has adjustable height air suspension. It doesn't have way too gigantic of wheels. We still have all-wheel drive, obviously, the different drive modes. I did enjoy spending time with this thing this week, and it's a very, very cold week, very snowy, and it handled everything totally fine, but not like a true hardcore performance iteration. But I don't think that was the goal that they set out to do. Now, what I like to see, what would we call it? Armada Nismo R-Spec, although they use that name for the QX80 R-Spec with a GTR engine. They're not going to actually do a production with a GTR engine, but tuning it up a bit more. Give us 550 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque, or something in that range, so it kind of spans the difference between where the Expedition Stealth Performance and the Tahoe RST sits, and the Escalade V, right? Escalade V is 150 grand, almost 700 horsepower, utterly ridiculous. But what about something in that mid-power range? Could be cool. Could there be space for it? Yeah. Halo effect? Absolutely. But there we go. A week spent living with the Nissan Armada Nismo. What do you guys think? I think opinions can be slightly divided on this thing. It definitely turns heads with the way it looks. I got some compliments. Wow. These people went pretty crazy with their holiday light decorations. Wow. I think it's cool. Ultimately, a vehicle like this is meant to ignite some excitement for the brand, right? This is not going to be the top-selling Armada model. It's supposed to just build some of that brand equity with the Nismo name, tying in nicely with the Nismo Z. Oh, that's a nice view with the lake and the last remnants of the sunset. Oh, the lake's not completely frozen yet, even though it's very, very cold outside. Holy lights. That is absolutely wild. All right, enough random rambling. There it is, living with the NISMO Armada. What do you guys think? Would you choose this over the Tahoe RST Performance, the Expedition, or would you just go for one of the other personalities of the Nissan Armada? Oh, one last thing. They should rename this the Patrol. Forget the Armada name. Just call it the Patrol, the Global Nissan Patrol. Toyota does with a Land Cruiser. Nissan, you guys should do it with this thing too. Just call it the Patrol. I would support that. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Thanks for watching.